Remind everyone that the City of Perry staff core values is a strong work ethic, problem solving, community oriented, shows professionalism and integrity, is a team player, is accountable, and is a good steward. Have roll call, please.
Shelley? Mahler?
Yes.
Walling?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Okay, then we need an approval of today's meeting agenda.
So moved. Second?
Any discussion? Roll call?
Walling?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Mahler?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Okay, item 2 is the consent agenda. It's the minutes of the April 21st regular city council meeting, 4 payments to contract services to Bolton and Menk for a total of $31,633. Claims register and financials for $2,052,751.36. And there are no licenses and permits on the agenda tonight. Can I have a motion, please?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Mahler?
Yes.
Walling?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Okay, city administrators report. So,
All right. 2 things, still tracking and watching the property tax legislation. It seems like there's some amendments or tweaks every couple of days or week. So just trying to keep up with that and keep on track with kind of where it's at. The biggest bright spot in that legislation is that the new growth is allowed to come into the budget instead of just capping at all growth as a percentage of that. So that would be helpful. There's still some other parts to it that could use some massaging to be a little bit more friendly, but definitely this is better than the 2023 version so far. So fingers crossed that those final issues can be taken care of and maybe get something out of it this year. And then this Wednesday through Friday, I'll be on the Greater Des Moines Partnership Washington, D.C. trip. So hopefully being able to have some good conversations in Washington, D.C., provide some updates on Perry and what we have going on here. So any questions?
What's the weather like there? Is it nice here?
I haven't checked yet. I'll do that.
Not gonna be as
I'll
nice.
do that either tomorrow night or Wednesday morning when I'm packing.
okay, next on the agenda is we have swearing in of a Perry police officer. Tyson Dahlberg. And podium, speak it so we can get you on. So repeat it. I, Tyson Dahlberg,
I, Tyson Dahlberg,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
or affirm I support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and I faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties of the office of the Perry Police Department in Perry, Iowa,
discharge of all my duties of the Perry Police Department in Perry, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Mayor's comments. Just want to remind everybody that Taco Palooza this Thursday at DMAC. They are looking for a new president. Eddie has asked us to maybe try to sit in, if you could, on one of their sessions to make sure we put in a good plug for keeping funding to Perry and keep it going strong because we need it and does a really great job for our community. So try to get to that. And then there's going to be salsa in the courtyard afterwards. So if you want a free salsa lesson, you can stop by the hotel. So any council comments?
Good to be back.
Have we heard anything from Habitat, Barb? Or...
I have not heard anything from Habitat, but I did learn that the houses out there on Graceland are very expensive. And that's one of the reasons why they still have them.
Did I hear that they have buyers for all of them? Is that
That
right?
would be great.
Yes, please.
Sure.
So I just met with Lindsay with Habitat today, via Zoom. We talked about just like there is one, absolute buyer. And then there are two that are kind of like still need to finish out the paperwork, but she is looking for, volunteer opportunities. So typically with Habitat, before they build the homes, they get their like sweat equity, hours by building that home. But since Perry was different and the homes were built prior to that because of like different funding, she's looking for sweat equity opportunities. So half of those have to be construction related, and then the other half can be, I don't know, cleaning up sites, or you can be kind of creative with it, she said. But if you guys want to share the word about that, I have an email drafted to Perry Economic Development as well, because she reached out to them. But she is wanting to try and get some hours for these individuals so they can, move into their homes. So
So if you got any apartments that need touching up or painting or any of those kind of things, you can get some free. Just call them up and ask them and, yeah. Okay, thank you.
A lot of little projects.
Okay, so we'll move to open forum. Speakers are asked to step up to the microphone, state their name and address for the record, and then you'll be given 3 minutes to address the council. Any open forum?
Anybody here?
Okay, I don't hear any, so we'll move on to old business. So the first one, A, is approval of an agreement with DGR Engineering Professional Services. The FAA requires that we get a review of our estimates before they agree to funding. And so this is the company we plan to use to do that for the runway extensions. I mean, the taxiway extension. So could I have a motion, please?
I make a motion, we approve agreement with DGR Engineering for Professional Services.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
So, oh, Garrett, you drove all this way. I'll let you talk.
Yeah, you gotta speak.
Yeah, so the independent fee estimate is for the construction engineering services for the construction project. So it's not assessing the actual construction estimate. It's looking at our fees to make sure that we're being fair and honest, and then we compare with them. And then after they come up with their number, we got our number, we negotiate, and that's how we come up with the fee. That's what the FAA expects on essentially all of their contracts that they're signing on to cover now. So that's what DGR is.
And historically, we've used Sambatech, out of just another engineering firm. So this is our first time with DGR, but this is same process we've gone through with all the other FAA engineering contracts.
And this is for the taxiway.
The parallel taxiway, yep.
And it's an amount of 4750, I forgot which it's. Further discussion, any more questions? Okay, roll call.
Mahler,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Okay, item B is resolution approving an extension of payment due date under an economic development loan agreement with Perry Economic Development, Inc. and Perry Industries, Inc. This was for the building of the spec building. Their loan was supposed to close the end of April. They are in the process of selling property to ADR, which is supposed to close before the 15th of the month. So they would like us to wait and take our money after they get their payment from ADR. So we are extending the due date from April 30th to May 19th, 2025 in this resolution. So could I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve resolution approving an extension of payment due date under an economic development loan agreement with Perry Economic Development, Inc. and Perry Industry Group.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
I guess I have a little bit of a problem with extending it since they signed a contract, but I get it. They don't want to have to do a bridge loan.
Or do CDs earlier or those kind of things that have a financial cost to them. So.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Thank you. Item C is resolution ordering bids, approving plans, specifications, and forms of contract and notice to bidder, fixing amount of bidders check and ordering and publishing notice for a public hearing on the plans, specifications, forms of contract, and estimate of cost for the parallel taxiway A reconstruction. This will be sent out by Bolton and Mank. They will be due at 6 o'clock on June 2nd, 2025 in the Clarion Room of the Security State Bank Building at 11:02. Or the public hearing will be set for 6 p.m. June 2nd in the Clarion Building of the Security Bank Building located at 11:02 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa. And both those will be published in accordance with the law. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we pass a resolution ordering the bids and all of that for the parallel taxiway.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Yeah, so this project is essentially reconstructing in place 35-foot wide, 4,000-foot long parallel taxiway. Also constructing a new connector to get back to the apron. There's going to be a period of time where that single connector is down. So using a lot of justification, got FAA to buy on to construct that additional connector. And then in the future, we'll be looking to do a 1,500-foot extension to go all the way down to the south end of the new runway.
So which is the new connect?
So the two that are almost parallel or are parallel in the center are the
Okay.
existing ones. That one to the left or to the north is new. Yeah.
Okay, that's the new one.
So if we were not able to get them to fund the construction of this connection,
Uh-huh.
we would have been shut down for a point during this construction. So this also adds another access to be able to construct new hangars over here, which is more related to the state grant application at the last meeting.
Yeah.
So
There's definitely multiple purposes to it. One, constant access. Two, size for Group 1 aircraft to get from the new or what will be the general aviation hangar development area. Then revenue. If the airport's shut down, we're estimating that the work within that area is about 2 months for that existing connector. So 2 months of fuel sale loss is substantial. Almost a third of what it costs to just build the new connector, and it opens up all kinds of different opportunities.
and 90% funded by the FAA,
95.
95.
So typically your FAA grants are 90% for fiscal year 25 and 26. Those are both covered at 90%.
Was all that in that 265-page document? I didn't get that.
It's in there.
I was gonna say, I looked through this and I wasn't sure exactly what to do.
Any further discussion? Okay, I'll ask for roll call.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yeah.
Shelley,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, on to new business. Resolution approving the site plan for the Blue Jay substation by Guthrie County REC within the city of Perry. It's out at the industrial park at the very southeast corner. Planning and Zoning Commission met and approved the plan. So they have a motion, please.
I make a motion, we pass a resolution approving the site plan for the Blue Jay substation by Guthrie County REC within the city of Perry.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion.
Yes, so this substation will be constructed on the southeast corner of the Perry Industrial Park. They'll serve or provide about 5 megawatts of power. All the materials and all the accessory structures or the structures themselves will be located inside a fence. The fence will be 8 feet tall, and we will touch on the fence in the next agenda item. But that fence is set back about 45 feet, so they are meeting all the setback requirements. yeah, took it to P and Z back in April and they recommended approval and staff would recommend approval as well. So happy to answer any questions.
Look reasonable.
And I do have, the engineer is on via Zoom. If you have any engineering, more technical related questions, he'll be able to answer those as well.
It is expandable too, so
Yeah.
we get more.
Yes. Yep, there is room for
Is that there?
expansion. Yep.
Roll call.
Wally,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Schott,
Yeah.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, item B is a resolution approving driveway and sidewalk agreements with Guthrie County REC and providing consent to permit barbed wire fencing. So they asked for two variances at the variance board. One was to not have to put in sidewalks and the other one was not have to pave their entrance approach from the road to the sidewalk. And both of those were turned down, but they said they could wait and put them in when the road was paved or the sidewalks were built next door to them. So, do I have a motion, please?
I'm making a motion, we approve resolution approving driveway and sidewalk agreements with Guthrie County REC and providing consent to permit barbed wire fencing.
And I'll second.
Yes,
Discussion.
Dirk, you explained it very well. Yep, so they came to the Board of Adjustment back in February requesting to not install sidewalks and to only have a gravel driveway. Those are both against ordinances. And then after much discussion, the board recommended to have kind of stipulations with those. So they'll install the sidewalk once a neighboring parcel installs theirs, and then they will pave their driveway once L Avenue is paved. So that kind of touches on the agreements. And then for the barbed wire fencing, per city code in the public health and safety chapter, barbed wire fencing is only allowed with written city council approval. So there is the fence for the substation is about 7 feet tall and then a foot of barbed wire. That's pretty standard for what you see around substations. It really is to prevent any
So
trespassing.
those are tilted out. barbed wire?
It's like kind of like the wraparound wire that you
Okay.
would see on top.
Okay.
And that's,
Razor wire.
yeah, yep, just to prevent anybody, I guess, trespassing and hopping the fence, which I hope nobody would do, but
When they pave, they're just gonna pave to the sidewalk, they're not gonna pave into the substation?
it would be the whole driveway access. So once there's, and then they have about, you would request a formal request to have them do those, and then they have a year to complete that.
Further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mahler,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Wally,
Yes.
Schott,
Yeah.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to ordinances. Item A is a second possible third reading for an ordinance adding subsection to chapter 96.06 building sewers and connectors interceptors required. We had the first reading last meeting. This would be the second reading to change that part of the code. So I would take a motion to approve going to a second reading.
I make a motion, we do the second reading for an ordinance adding subsection to chapter 96.06 building sewers and connections, interceptors required.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Talk to us.
This is basically just, and I know Jeremy was thinking about some changes and stuff. It's already in the current ordinance that we can go in anytime to look. We just have not really had that organized of a process, I would say. And this gives us a way to basically have that scheduled every year, where we would go in there with the wastewater superintendent or the building official could do it. And then make sure that everyone's just to help the whole system, because we have had some grease backups that have been absolutely horrible. And then when that happens, it's backing up everyone else's. So it's not if someone's going to pay, they're gonna have to, if you decide to do this, pay a fee to cover the times and stuff like that for doing it. And then I think it'll make people more reactive too, to cleaning out their grease traps and doing that stuff. So.
Do you think we can get something added in there to maybe penalize the people that aren't doing it and maybe reward the people that are? Is that was my conversation with you, was I thought that maybe if we have repeat offenders or people that every time that you go to check theirs, it's sparkling clean like mine is clearly.
Yes. So I believe in the ordinance that it says that if there's repeat in there, an issue, anytime issue municipal infractions against them.
Okay.
There is no system for, hey, we're gonna give you a free cup of coffee if you're doing good, but we will tell you you're doing it.
Like,
And maybe that's something with marketing or whatever, we can say, hey, thanks for,
Maybe-
Commonwealth for doing it.
Maybe a local bar would like to sponsor a free drink upon successful
So
grease trap inspections.
one thing we're thinking about doing is getting like a proletariat punch card. And then people could get it, like if you get 4 punches, good time, then you go in for like a free cake.
yeah, as long as we have something in there.
Yeah,
If we have somebody that
Yep.
continually is abusing the system and not doing the right thing.
Yeah, Molly and I leaned on Molly's expertise and stuff and ordinance writing and stuff, and I feel really confident in this. I think if we can get this going, then we can start the inspection process, and we'll have a staff meeting, and do that. And, if you'd be so kind, I'd appreciate your waiving the third too as well, if you will. So.
So you want to get this implemented immediately? Is that?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Immediately-ish?
Yes, I'd like to.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Okay, I think it's great.
then I'll talk to you about the punch card thing.
Further discussion? Okay, roll call?
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Okay, and then I'd entertain a motion to waive the rules and proceed with the third reading tonight.
Motion to waive the rules and do the third reading tonight.
Any further discussion on that? Okay, roll call.
Walling,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Schott,
Yeah.
Klein,
Yes.
Okay, item B is similar. It's a second and possible
Oh.
third reading. Oh,
We saw it.
okay,
sorry.
okay.
I make a motion that we do the third reading on this ordinance adding subsection to chapter 96.06, building sewers and connections interceptors required.
I'll second that.
Okay, further discussion. Okay, roll call.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Okay,
There.
now item B, second possible third reading for the new ordinance creating chapter 116 of airports. We discussed this again last year. It's kind of basically just updating the old manual and bringing it up to speed, and it hadn't been done for quite a while, so it needed a bit of work. So again, this will be for the second reading, and then if we so choose, we can have third reading tonight also. So could I have motion, please?
I make a motion, we pass ordinance creating chapter 116 airport.
I'll
second.
Discussion.
Yeah, so it's at this point, and we kind of like we talked the first time this came up, one of the few primary guiding documents for the airport to help with growth, help with maintaining what people are doing in their hangars, what kind of hangars they're building, what everything is supposed to how things are supposed to function, fees are people are supposed to pay. This is one of, I think, what'll be 2 primary guiding documents. The other one will be the rules and regulations that is in the FAA's hands for review right now. Hopefully get something back here within the next couple of weeks. We'll take that back to the airport commission, go through any edits we want to make, and then that'll come forward to council.
Any further discussion?
Document before. Really?
There was one when Jonathan Walters was the FBO, but it did get approved by the commission like maybe a month or 2 before he decided he was not going to continue. So at that point, that's kind of when the commission said, let's do an overhaul on it. And then there's been a ton of conversation around that, especially with the growth. Now that the runway is officially open, and like Garrett said, it's time that we kind of get all these documents in line because it's quite the improvement. And I think the Air Force is going to be very busy. And Garrett can definitely elaborate on that.
Oh, yeah.
So just as a little bit more insight into the document, it's a lot of minimum standards cover different businesses that can operate at the airport. But this document encapsulates all users, so everybody's treated the same. Fair, and that's the way the FAA, that's what your grant assurances want. So taking that step.
I didn't realize we didn't have anything.
No, yeah, so that's why it's a new chapter. So very similar to kind of this, there's a chapter specific to the cemetery rules and regulations and fees. Now we'll have one for the airport for rules and regulations.
Okay, thank you. The discussion? Roll call.
Mahler,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, we'd entertain a motion to waive the rules and have third reading tonight.
Make a motion, we suspend the rules, do a third reading?
Further discussion? Roll call?
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, so this will be the third reading for ordinance creating chapter 116 airport. Can I have a motion, please?
So be it.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
I didn't hear a second on that one.
Aye.
Okay,
Seconded.
Walling. Okay. So I have Klein, Walling,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Okay. Any other business? If not, we will adjourn. Okay, thank you.